Rosemary, Lynn, this is everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
So we have a smattering of all kinds of different people here, and they're just keep on coming in. So Rosemary and Lynn are from Presbyterian Mission Agency, and I'll turn the controls over to them.
Great. Thank you so much for this invitation to be with you today. Let's take a moment to quiet our hearts and spirits and minds in prayer. Pray with me, please. Dear God, we are so grateful for this time together as the friends of Christ. We ask that you bless our conversation, our work, and our ministry, that all we do may be for the building up of the body of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I'm really thrilled to be with Utica Presbytery. I actually was ordained by Susquehanna Valley Presbytery, and I'm a member of Genesee Valley Presbytery. So I try to get back to New York State whenever I can still. I still have family in the Binghamton area. And I just think New York State is really a beautiful place, even when it's wintertime. So Lynn Foreman is with me. I know you read our bios. Lynn is on the staff that I oversee, and she's a mission engagement advisor for all of the Synod of the Northeast. So she's actually going to do most of the talking today. We thought we would start with, I know that you all were asking about how do you more deeply engage, what's some steps to take once you make the decision to sign on to being a Matthew 25 church. So we want to start with just showing you a really short video. It's 3 minutes. It's appropriate for this season, and it's something you might want to use with in worship if you're still doing Zoom, or in a meeting, a session meeting, or a congregational meeting. So let's see how my skills are today. Cool. Missionary. Nobody said they couldn't hear, so I hope you all could hear that.
Oh, video. Rose, I did type in the chat that we couldn't hear. I didn't know if you saw me.
You couldn't hear it. Oh my goodness. Do you mind if I show it again? I'm so sorry. I just got it. Let me show it again. Oh. Excuse me. My social skills here are missing. I'm going to try and do that later. While Lynn, you can talk about it. It has a great, the voiceover is Bryce Weeby, but everything he said you saw on the screen. I'm sorry that you couldn't hear it. We do have a number of videos that are 2 and 3 minutes long about Matthew 25. What we wanted to do today was, we had a conversation with Larry, and one of the questions that he said was raised was that churches are looking for, like, okay, let's give us some direction, like tell us what to do next. We're getting that from a number of congregations. Actually, it was very intentional, as Larry pointed out, that we didn't give all the directions of how to proceed because we didn't want to overstep and make it appear that we were mandating what any congregation, what you should do to engage in Matthew 25. We want that to be completely up to you. The Matthew 25 website does have a number of resources, and it's a little complicated, and so it takes some time to get through that. One of the resources you have here today is Lynn, and Lynn can have individual conversations with you about what you think either your session, a study group, your congregation would like to do to begin engaging in Matthew 25. This past week, I was with some congregations, one in the middle of Pennsylvania and one in Wisconsin. In both cases, the church members together read a book, and they had a book discussion. The book was Waking Up White, and they just had a book group together. And many of our congregations are using that, a book group, as a starting point. We have a new resource, which is watching films together and having a discussion group about certain films, which a retired Presbyterian pastor has put together a study guide for that. But how we thought we would begin today was to really hear from you, to ask you, what is it that you would be helpful in your particular congregation to more deeply engage in Matthew 25?
Yes. And so what I always start off with is, what would your local communities, as far as congregations are concerned, how or what would they look like? How would they be impacted if your church doors were to close? If you were suddenly no longer in the community, would the local community around you feel the impact? Would they know that you're no longer there? And usually when that question is asked, it really does allow you to think. It allows you to think about what your local congregations are doing outside of the four walls of the church. And the video that Rose was looking to play really shows, it's just a snippet of what the movement of Matthew 25 really is about. It really is designed to be a movement. It's designed to work beyond the four walls of the church in the local community and beyond. In one of the three foci areas, which you all probably have heard quite often lately. Building congregational vitality is one. Dismantling structural racism is another. And eradicating systemic poverty. And what we find is a lot of the local congregations in their own communities have developed specific movements centered around one of these three focus areas. And so we really ask that you consider and think about identifying one of the 3 focus areas and aligning yourselves with the work within the local community. Many of the congregations are already doing. And so many of you are already Matthew 25 congregations, because you have, so many have local food pantries, right? I'm sure there's many in your local congregations. Many already do work with the homeless. It's a matter of really going deeper with what is already taking place. That's really how a lot of the congregations I already see fully embracing and embodying Matthew 25. A lot of those congregations are already doing the work, but they just go deeper. And so today, oh, I'm sorry, Rose.
I was going to say, an example that I use about going deeper is that many, as Lynn has said, many congregations might have a food pantry or a meal program. What happens is that more and more people seem to be taking advantage of, need the services of a food pantry or a meal program. And so Presbyterians are smart people, and they start asking, why are more people hungry? Why is it that this is increasing? And when you start asking those questions, you can reach out to people in your community, in local government, or say an urban league or other service providers in your community, or you can do something like contact the Office of Public Witness of the Presbyterian Church in Washington and talk to the person who does domestic issues and ask if you could have a Zoom call with them on what's the issue with hunger in America, what are some of the systemic problems, or the Presbyterian Hunger Program, which has amazing staff who can talk about what are the larger issues around hunger in America. So it's that going deeper, we have people who can assist you all along the way to engage in those conversations and to think about ways that actions you can take that make sense for you where you're located. Thanks, yeah. Lynn.
Absolutely. In areas where you can become more connectional. Rose mentioned a few areas, but some other examples may be in the work of, for instance, dismantling structural racism, the work with racial equity and women's intercultural ministries within the PMA. We can connect you with that specific ministry area, and they will help you identify how you can do work in that specific area. It may be in hunger, where we're talking about maybe eradicating systemic poverty. Maybe you specifically like to go in the area of hunger. Well, we have a ministry area that the hunger program, where we can align you with the work in the ministry of the hunger program, and they can help you identify ways where your ministry and your congregation can go deeper. There's so many ministry areas within the PMA that will work alongside of you and help you become deeper in the Matthew 25 movement. So today we thought about ways in which not only you could go deeper, but we wanted to hear from you. We wanted to find out maybe perhaps what you're doing already in some of these areas that maybe you had not thought about it being a Matthew 25 type of movement, or you could share with us thoughts that you've had since you heard about Matthew 25, and now that you've heard from us, possibilities of going deeper in the work that you're doing. So I really would, and Rose, we really would like to hear from you. because what we hear from you helps us go back to other congregations, other pastors, presbyteries, and share in a deeper, fuller way. So would anyone like to volunteer just to share?
Well, you know, we have the food pantry, and we're working with the church up on the corner that we're trying to see how we can help them. They house during the winter homeless people overnight. It's cold. There's a breakfast program. We're seeing how we can connect with that. We've also connected with somebody who goes out and finds homeless people and gives them blankets and warm things in the wintertime. I mean, these are all kind of stopgap things, but there's a deeper problem that made them homeless and hungry.
Barbara, you're absolutely right. That's exactly what's going on. I mean, you know, I'm also a lifelong Presbyterian. I always say Presbyterians are, you know, we observe things, we see the bigger picture. And so, you know, to be engaged in Matthew 25 is to recognize what you're already doing, and then to ask the question you're really asking here. There's a bigger problem. These are what you're seeing as the symptoms of some bigger problem, either in your region or in the state or in the country. We do Matthew 25 programs 4 times a year. There's one coming up on June 23rd that will focus. It's an hour and 15 minutes webinar on specifically on hunger, Matthew 25 and hunger. We will be sending out that information to Larry, and so that'll be available to all of you. Anyone can sign up for that. You can bring your whole mission committee. We try to we have conversations with members of congregations who are engaged in this case in hunger. We're going to be we did one in March on housing. This one's on hunger, and we're doing one on immigration. And I forget what the 4th one is. All they're spread out, one every quarter throughout the year. So, and the other is, because your particular interest is hunger, we'd be happy to connect you with the hunger or 1 Great Hour of Sharing staff to just have a conversation about what are some of the systemic issues that have to related to hunger in this country.
Rose and Lynn, I have a question. You've listed a number of resources that are available to us, but am I understanding this correctly? If a given session wants to reach out directly to one of these agencies within PMA to talk to them about a specific issue, hunger, homelessness, women, they can contact the individual at that agency themselves and have a conversation with them.
Absolutely. And please know, you all support your shared mission dollars and your offering dollars support the staff at the center in Louisville. And so there is no charge for you to make, definitely not a charge to make a phone call, and no charge if there's a point where you're meeting in person again and you want to invite them to meet with you or do a Zoom conversation. That's fine. That's what we do.
Absolutely. And one of, I think, one of the areas in which I've become very well versed in is identifying who should connect with whom. And I would be more than happy to assist and be a connector to make sure that the congregation or pastor, whoever is reaching out, is really getting the information that they need.
Okay, so Lynn, again, a session could connect directly with you, and then you can help guide them to whichever.
Absolutely. That is a big part of what we are doing with Matthew 25. So being the mission connector.
And actually, you can connect with Lynn on anything at all. And if you need a resource or you're trying to connect with somebody or some topic, Matthew 25 or something else, Lynn
Right.
is the person that you can email or call, and she will take care of that.
And matter of fact, the work of mission engagement and support as mission engagement advisor intersects with all of the ministry areas of the mission agency. And so I'm happy to connect you to any, it could be congregational vitality, vital congregations, that specific area, if there is needed help there. Like I mentioned earlier, racial equity and women's intercultural ministries, another. It could be self-development of people, any of world mission, any of the ministry areas, I will connect you to and assist with. So does anyone have another example?
This is not an example, but were my eyes, when you showed that video, I thought I saw a sign that said "Guns for Peace," and I thought that didn't seem that they went together.
I'll have to look at the video again. I'm not, I have to see exactly what it says.
I don't recall seeing guns.
Don't recall seeing that.
I remember, this may not be what it was, but I do remember reading in one of the Presbyterian magazines some time ago that there were churches that were collecting guns from the community to be recycled into something else. So that may be what it was referencing.
Oh, could be, but it was sort of like shook me.
First Presbyterian in Rome, we kind of do a lot of different things mission related. We have a monthly collection of food for, I think it's 6 different organizations in the neighborhood that we give food donations to. We have a mission closet that's open up twice a week where people can come into the church and shop, if you will, for no money to try to get small household things, clothing, whatever they need. We cook twice a month for the rescue mission. We have a rummage sale twice a year. And not only do we have rock bottom prices for people to purchase things, but all of the money that we gain go right back into the cooking and whatever. We also do blessings in a backpack with a local school and one of the other churches. So we kind of have a broad area of different things, both with clothing as well as with food.
Oh, thank you for telling us about that. That's amazing. That's a lot of work too.
It is, especially the blessings in a backpack for the school children. That's really great. So I would like to also ask if after this video is made available, I'm going to listen through it and write down or type out some of what I'm hearing that's going on. And I would love to have the opportunity to share just some of the ideas. So if that's okay, I just wanted to mention that as well.
Yeah, Larry, since 2 of the examples that have been shared are hunger related, Lynn and I talked about putting together, say, a short resource list, and including people that we could send to you afterwards. And you could share that with the folks on this call.
Please do. We'll make sure to get that to them.
Great.
Are there any other questions that Rose or I could answer for you about Matthew 25?
Yeah, I just thinking back over the years, one of the most difficult things in the middle of all the sort of giving mission programs has been establishing relationships. I mean, it's you know, we have cooked for people and given resources and given money here and there. But the harder thing seems to be to find ways to bridge the divides between groups of people in the community and to get to know individuals and establish those relationships that start to change patterns of human relations in the town.
Mm.
Sam, I think you've identified a fundamental issue that a lot of us are trying to address, is that how do you really build authentic relationships with the people that you feel called to serve, but how do you do that in a respectful way? I just had that conversation yesterday as we are planning the next Matthew 25 program around hunger, saying let's find examples of some churches that have tried to break through on that. So that program in June might be of interest to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and then another area, and I certainly can provide more details at a later time, racial equity and women's intercultural ministries will be conducting a series, I believe, of workshops on being more of a connectional church, being more connectional. So I think that really does speak more into the building authentic relationships, because it is being connectional across various cultural groups. And so that's something that I know is being discussed. And certainly we can make sure that you have information about those workshops. Anyone else? And I guess a question that I would have for you is, what specifically do you need to effectively execute or be a part of the movement for Matthew 25? Yes, is that Kevin?
Yes. One of the things that I wanted to do was connect with, we support a little girl in Guatemala as a church through Compassion. And I wanted to see if the mission agency couldn't connect us with one of the missionaries who were down there. Obviously, during this COVID time, that's not too cool. But the other thing I was thinking, if there was a way, maybe through Louisville, to have pastors or elders or parishioners from different parts of the country even, share, through Zoom or through, is there a central place where we could have, many videos uploaded just talking about our, like Gail just talked about Rome and how the things that they were doing, all those little things that we could share with each other through, we're all used to doing these video things now, or sort of. Is there any kind of a clearinghouse for anything like that? Is my question.
That's a really good question. That's in some ways our Matthew 25 programs are doing that slightly. I mean, in that we have featured congregations talking about their work in a particular area of Matthew 25. So it's not the national staff telling anybody what to do. It's interviewing members of, or the pastors of congregations, having them describe how they got involved in something. And when we send you the resources, Lynn can include the past Matthew 25 programs. The last one we did on housing was just really interesting. A church in New Jersey realized that there was a housing issue in their neighborhood, and so they just connected with some organization in the neighborhood, and they just put out a call and said, anybody, tenants' rights. Anybody want to talk about tenants' rights? Come to the church tonight. 800 people showed up. And this was just a couple of years ago. And they ended up creating a really strong tenants' rights group in a part of New Jersey, obviously, where lots of people live in apartments and condos. So it's that's the approach we're taking, because we hear what you're saying. It's much more impactful to hear what another congregation is actually doing, and then kind of translate it to your own situation.
One of the greatest things that Compassion did was they sent a video, shared a video with all the donors that I played in church from a guy in Guatemala who's the head of their Guatemalan team, who was also a sponsored child when he was young. And that 3 minutes of video was just something that I shared with our congregation. We just have, to have more sharing like that and short little things made available, I think would be great. And I don't know where on the Presbytery website you'd find a video like that, if there are any that have been edited down to, just a short message. But I think if there was a way to do that, that would be just one thing to use, another tool for our congregations to say, this is what's happening here, and this is what's happening here. We are all connected.
That's really good advice, and we have a few of those, probably not as specific as the one that you got from that organization, but we're starting to think in those terms. We have some kind of ones that are at a higher level, like the one I just attempted to show about, in general, the Pentecost offering in Matthew 25. We have one on per capita, and we have one on shared mission. But the other possibility is we do have mission coworkers in Guatemala, and we could assist you in having a Zoom conversation with them.
Yes.
So that's something. Go ahead, Lynn.
Absolutely. Guatemala actually is one of the specific areas where I work with many mission coworkers that are in Guatemala. And there is a lot of resources, actually. And I can certainly connect you with some of the videos that are in existence, and maybe even just hear more about what's going on with the mission coworkers or whoever you're connecting with there, because sometimes these relationships can really develop and be beneficial in a way where other congregations can be in support of some of what's going on. So it would be great to have a conversation with you as well.
And I happened to be in Guatemala just before we all got locked down last year. There's a Guatemala mission network of the Presbyterian Church, and so they had their meeting in Guatemala. And also Presbyterian Disaster Assistance was at the meeting. They do a lot of work in Guatemala. So it just happens, the country you picked, there is quite a Presbyterian presence. And I know Lynn has been, I think you've been there too, right, Lynn?
Yes.
On trips.
Then to Guatemala. And SEDEPCA there is the global partner that we work with quite a bit. And so it would really be great if we could have some conversations, because I know there's a lot available to connect you with.
Glad to do it. Thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I did one time I called Louisville and tried to get in touch with someone, and I never got any answer back. So yeah, that's why. But we were sponsoring, so when I called Compassion, they responded quite quickly. So I think if there was a way to have certain things available that we could respond quicker to, it would be nice.
Yeah,
because I know we're doing work, and we're not the only ones. I mean, in Rome, they have one of their parishioners. I'm moderating their session right now, so one of their parishioners is a missionary in Guatemala as well, and they're coming home, and so they're going to share with Rome's congregations and things they're doing. Hopefully, if it all works out and all that jazz, but flying in time wise. But I grew up in the Baptist church, so we always had, every month we had a missionary from somewhere coming to our church, and I, you know, that's one of the things I miss in our system, is that we don't really get that connection as much to the missionaries who are out there doing these kind and seeing the world in ways that we can't.
Right.
Well, I will certainly be happy to assist you with that. As Rose mentioned, the Guatemalan Mission Network is very, very active, and that is one way to connect, but there are so many others. So
I was with the Ghana Mission Network on Saturday. They had a virtual meeting, and it was wonderful. There were a lot of people from, obviously the Mission Network are U.S. Presbyterian churches, but because of Zoom, we had a lot of people who signed in from Ghana on the call. And so it was a really rich conversation. And we have about 25 of these mission networks. So if you already have an interest in a country, we can probably connect you with a mission network, a mission coworker, or if you would like one, Lynn could have a conversation with you, your mission committee, about where you think you would have an interest, and again, make the connection.
absolutely. And Kevin, the other idea that I'm thinking of is, once things go back to normal and mission coworkers are back to itinerating and getting into their regular routine, you can actually have mission coworkers visit your congregation, and certainly visit congregations within the specific area while they're itinerating. So yes, let's certainly talk more.
I sent you my email on the chat.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Betsy?
Yeah,
Betsy.
years ago, we had the mission yearbook, and it was really, because it was hard copy too, probably. I think it was very helpful in keeping us alert to where mission was taking place and who the coworkers were in those areas. And I think we've when I look at the online mission yearbook, I think we've lost some of that. And I would like to encourage, in the lines of what Kevin is talking about, that we go back to some more of that kind of focus, rather than some of the focus which tends to be, right, immediate, what are issues that we are dealing with. So I think it would be helpful for us, even as we likewise are trying to build a special offering, a Pentecost offering in the global, combining the global mission with the peacemaking offering.
Thank you very much for those words about the mission yearbook. I always appreciate having yet another person give me an example of why that is so important and how valuable the hard copy was. So thank you. Please know you have an advocate in me.
Thank you. Again, I miss it.
Yes, many, many people do.
Yeah.
And that was also a way to learn what was going on in presbyteries, if we're going to talk about Matthew 25.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Very good.
Anyone else?
Yeah, just one other, I hope people are aware of the international peacemakers that will be itinerating again this fall, September. That's a wonderful thing to take advantage of, to learn about various parts of the world and what's going on there.
Thank you for that reminder. That is a wonderful program, and their schedules fill up very quickly. So it's good if you are interested to let the peacemaking program know. We now send something out to the mid-councils called Quarterly Resource Preview. Lynn sends it to Larry, and we can, if Larry wants, we can also send that to congregations where it gives you information about what's coming up in the next up to like 3 months forward, and resources with links and easy access to information. So that will be in an upcoming one.
Yes, it's a plethora of information, and it's anything and everything that you would like to know about mission. And so you'll find it to be very helpful. Any other questions above and beyond Matthew 25? Anything mission related? And so I hope this conversation has really sparked, Larry, were you about to say something? I'm sorry.
I just was going to say that just knowing that we have you as a resource is probably the most important thing, that we can call you and we can party with you. And
yes, for sure.
And no one has to ask permission to call you.
No.
Okay, well, that's good. That will be very helpful to know.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah.
Thank you. And so that's actually a very good segue into what I was about to say, is once we return back to, I don't want to say our normal, because there is certainly a new normal after COVID-19. But once things return back to full swing, I am available to come to your specific area and meet with, your, not just the presbytery, but specific, now that I've heard from Larry, if you specifically would like to have me visit with your congregation, I can speak and do a moment for mission. We can kind of flush out Matthew 25 and maybe do a Matthew 25 workshop, mission engagement workshop. We can have a mission coworker during the time that they may be itinerating, join me, and we can have a mission coworker share a moment for mission, or just make their rounds in your specific presbytery area. Whatever it is that you think would be most beneficial for your congregation is really what I'm here for. So don't forget and keep that in mind.
And please know, when we visit, we're happy to stay for a couple days.
Yeah.
Do multiple events or our programs or worship services. That's something that we try to make the most of every trip and give ourselves a lot of time. Presbyteries are usually a pretty big geographic area, so we want to make sure we can spend a lot of time. I happen to be coming to Geneva Presbytery at the end of September, but I'm going to do Genesee Valley, Susquehanna Valley, and Geneva over the course of a week. So Lynn is accustomed to that. We're all accustomed to operating that way.
Absolutely. Anyone else? No questions. Wow. I'm surprised.
Rose and Lynn, thank you for being with us today.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Would you all mind if I tried to show that video again, and this time with some sound?
That would be great.
See what I can do here. Oh. Okay, let's see if I can do this. All right, share. Now, somewhere on here must be sound. I don't see any place where I can turn on sound.
I think it's,
Not me.
so when you click the left little, there we go.
Can you hear it?
No,
Let me stop.
can't hear it.
No.
But what I can do is, Larry, if I forwarded it to you, could you try?
Well, how about we do this? Some of us have to go to another meeting now. So
Okay,
I'll
You can
send the
try.
link to everybody so that they'll have it.
that's even better.
I am so
please-
sorry that didn't work.
Feel free to share the video because it's a great video. You can hear it.
Find out what the problem is here. Well, I love tech. Thank you all very much for taking the time to meet with us. We appreciate it. And please don't hesitate to call upon us. And Lynn, I'm sure will be in touch with a number of you.
Yes, please don't hesitate. Now that you have my information, I am available for you. So don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank
Thank-
you. All
Thank
right,
you,
friends.
Lynn.
The Lord be with you.
And
Also,
also with you.
Bye
bye-bye.
now.
Rosemary,
Yes.
if on where you share your screen, if you right click on that sharing icon, I believe you'll come up with something that says share computer audio.
Thank you.
That's
Thank
what
you.
you have to do to get the computer audio to share on Zoom.
Oh, share sound. I see that. Thank you so much.
Ray will send you a bill for technical support. Bye now.
Bye-bye.